What if your cycle, women's cycle, or your partner's cycle, if you're a guy, can be actually the most interesting, exciting thing that we can experience? If you have been following my channel, if you have been watching my videos, you probably have been hear me talking about my own journey. I think I started longer than a year ago, exploring and feeling into what else is in our cycles. I found very limited the idea of feeling, we all experience our cycles in different ways, but this idea that when we are having a lot of symptoms, thinking that there's something wrong with us. I was like, no, there has to be more with this. I am in my mid-30s, and I just didn't like the idea of living my life thinking that there was something wrong with me, that I couldn't experience life at its fullest when I was in those days. So it was maybe my inner wisdom that we all carry. Through different experiences, I am someone that not always has symptoms, but definitely I have had times in my life where there's a lot of symptoms. I want to make a little pause here because everyone is invited to watch this video. I think obviously women, we haven't been educated, I want to say, as I wish we all could feel. I think I love the idea of all women to feel empowered about our cycles. It's every month, it's every week that we experience these changes, and it is so magical. It's the source of we create life, right? We are able to create life because of our cycles. But I think it's so beautiful if you are in a relationship, if you're a guy and you are in a relationship, that you listen to this conversation. I think my intention is to make it a little bit of more of a conversation. I want to share my experience, how I got to where I am, to experience magic. That's how my cycles are now. I get excited to see what else and how deep I can go every time that I get into the difficult days. I want to say, like, as many women, like, of course I had years where it was the time where I would get into fights with everyone, my ex-partners, people on the street, and without knowing what I was experiencing. And God, I'm super excited to share the knowledge and the experiences I've been collecting through this process. I might link the other videos so you can kind of also feel into what has been my journey. When I started, I think it was probably one of the places that I want to say a lot of women might be at the moment frustrated. Like, I was like, I know this feels so awful, but I know at the same time that there's more. There has to be more. Welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you see me, it's really nice to have you here. If you have been seeing me for a while, it's so good to have you back in my videos, in this space. So I want to share a little bit of how I got here, and then we will get into the magic, the power that there is in these times, these moments of our lives as women. I'm sure a lot of women have already, we live in a world right now where we are kind of exposed to the same information. So media has told us that our hormones get activated, and it's almost like the wellness industry. I love the wellness industry. It's so much fun. I work for the wellness industry, and yeah, it is really, really fun. But at the same time, it creates a lot of issues. It makes us believe that there's a lot of problems, and it has to be that way. I'm not gonna get too deep into the why it is that way, but people are selling products and services, so they need to get to the root and makes us feel so that we all have that problem. That's why it's so important to always discern everything that we are exposed to. That's also something that I like to share in my videos. I am sharing my experience, and you might relate and you might resonate with parts of my experience, with parts of who I am. And that's amazing. If you feel inspired by the things that I share, that's, you know, my whole intention here. But always taking a little time to have that process of discerning what you really think, how things feel to you, what you want to make with that, right? We all have that inner GPS, inner guidance that tells us, yeah, this feels good. I might have a similar perspective. So give yourself always that opportunity to create your own perspective of things. And so the one thing that I see is very common is that, yeah, we believe that our hormones get dysregulated by food, by environment, right? So that, I want to say personally, that created a stress for me, like tracking, you know, what I was eating, what I was doing. And I think it was only, and I started adjusting, and it's beautiful. I actually will be super happy to share everything that I've been doing in my diet and my lifestyle to support my hormones. But there was a moment where I was like, I checked all the boxes. I was like, I'm doing these things in my diet, I'm doing these things in my lifestyle, and I'm still experiencing these things, all these symptoms. So that's when I started getting even more curious. I was like, okay, what can I do with this? I'm gonna be a little extreme, but I'm not gonna hate myself because I am here again in this, experiencing these feelings. You know, I've been also in a journey of creating the life that I desire to live, and that life, it's a life where I love myself deeply. So I'm like, how can I love myself in these moments? Again, and always with that curiosity of feeling what else is here available for me to learn and understand, and you know, that can help me to expand as human, my consciousness and my human experience. I want to say that, yeah, it's been a year, and every time that I get my cycle, I, you know, like a little cat, I'm just like paying attention. And I had recently, I think even I shared a video about that experience. I had a session with my first time going to a chiropractor, and I was a bit disappointed because I've been, in the changes that I did in my lifestyle, I've been very intentional of prioritizing my luteal phase, giving myself, it's really hard, I have the sun in my eyes, I'm sorry already. I'm giving extra care to myself during the luteal phase. That's something that, I've been excited to do, you know, like, okay, I need to go a little bit more slow, and I might explain also a little bit each of the phases, but just for you to have an idea, luteal phase is the phase right before we get our period. It can be, for some women, 8 days, 10 days. Some women might have 2 to 3 days of feeling a little bit more, a little tired, or, you know, the symptoms are kind of the same for most people. But as I said, like, there are times, for example, for me, that they are like louder. So that can feel like, yeah, we're low in energy and extra sensitive. So until the chiropractor appointment, that's, you know, my awareness, that's the level of awareness I had about what was happening. I was like, okay, seems like 10 days before my cycle, I am very sensitive. I don't have the same energy to do the same workout, so I like to slow down, and I like to curate, you know, the interactions, the people I hang out with. I knew also that those days I wasn't feeling as social, I wasn't feeling as creative. Once my period ends, my estrogens goes up, and that's when I'm just like full of life and creative and extrovert and so inspiring. So I already had that awareness. And I was a little disappointed because I didn't do much research before going to the chiropractor. I was like, oh, sure, let's just, I was dealing with some injuries in my body. So I was like, let's just get rid of this. I trust this is gonna be the right approach. So yeah, didn't do research, and after the session, I realized like I was in a very sensitive state to be working with my body, to be doing changes in my body, because that's a lot of, you know, when they do the cracking, I don't know if there's another word to say that, but yeah, when they make the adjustments in your body, it kind of felt for me, I wonder if maybe it feels a little different for other people, but for me felt a little bit like a nervous system reset, like it was vibrating, and yeah, it was a whole very real experience. And what happened after was that it amplified a lot my luteal phase. Everything that I knew I was experienced before that appointment during my luteal phase, almost like it amplified so much. So it was scary, I want to say, because I feel like I was just able to sense and feel so much, and I didn't know what to do. So I was like, well, that probably was, you know, it's a very extreme luteal phase because of the adjustments. The next month it's gonna be totally different. I will make sure to not do any of these adjustments during my luteal phase next time. And it's, I think, my third luteal phase now, my second luteal phase after that. And I want to say that I didn't pay as much attention the last one, but this one, it was very interesting because I went out and I had this interaction with, it's been a while that I don't have these kind of moments. I had an interaction with someone that was, you know, one of the people at the store. I was doing some shopping, and I had like a very reactive reaction to this person, like very fiery. I was like, I left the place and I was like, oh my god. That's not, you know, how I want to respond. And I feel like, yeah, I'm not being myself. I know myself already, and I know when I have that kind of reactivity is because there's something underneath, and reactivity comes from, you know, like repressed anger, you know. So I decided to sit with that. I was like, okay, what is bubbling inside that, you know, something so small made me react that way. And this is when the magic starts happening. And I want to say, I wanted to give you the context because it was a build up of awareness. I don't know if I can say that way, but I'm hoping you're understanding. Like, I've been exploring, right? I've been cycle by cycle, understanding that there's something else that is happening during these days besides feeling reactive or feeling tired. I was like, well, let's just go deeper. Let's dig a little more and see what is underneath. So when I sit, I started seeing something that after the adjustments with the chiropractor, I recognized the same things that I was seeing. But of course, now I have a different awareness. I think after the chiropractor, it was just like, woof, this feels intense. I don't know what this is. So what I'm able to see now, and again, I'm emphasizing these things, I think it has to do a lot with me being very intentional in paying attention. I want to explain all this very well so you feel like you can also do it, because I'm not different than you, or your partner is not different than me. And this is how we get to the magic. So I was able to see all my patterns active. And what I recognize is that that's overwhelming. my inner critic, my, the all the subconscious parts of myself, like my inner child being triggered by the thing at the store, not feeling enough, not feeling worthy. So this is probably a little difficult to explain. I'm trying to do my best. So it's almost like all these patterns, they come alive. They're just very loud during the luteal phase. But because we are not educated, we just haven't learned how to work with these moments, we get overwhelmed, and that's where the reactivity comes in. We just know, I feel like the sensation was like, it's so much. Like seeing all these parts of myself at once is so much. So we have not, because I also did a little bit of research, the inner critic gets activated, that the anxiety, the stress, and all these things. But it's just funny because I feel like we are at a time in history where we have all this knowledge, and it's almost like we are still figuring out how to work with these things, right? But sorry that I'm going in many different places. Like there have been women for many years in history that have this wisdom and knowledge, and it's been around, and I feel like I'm just tapping into that, and you can do the same too. Because it's just inside of us. It's what we experience. We don't have to go anywhere. Like I feel like I've been picking up pieces of information. Now I'm like, okay, this is what it is, this is what's happening. So if we think about that for a minute, it's almost like you have this, what's the name of the something that amplifies what you are looking at. So I have all my patterns, and I have all these parts. I have access to my subconscious, right? And if you think about that, that's not supposed to feel good. As I said, like most women not knowing that that's what's happening, right away we feel overwhelmed, and then we react, and we get angry, and we get sad. We just don't know how to hold the space for that. But what's happening to me now is that now that I understand that that's what's happening, I'm like, it's just having clarity, like adding the meaning to what I'm experiencing. It makes the experience different and allows you to see from outside, to not be part of it, and to from outside to choose what you want to do. So many things are coming to my mind at the same time. Definitely, it is challenging to work with all this. But again, if we think about that from a perspective of this not being something negative, even like how can you flip that? What is the good side of this? It's amazing. We get to have a level of awareness of ourselves during these times that we don't get during the rest of the month. So I almost want to say that also maybe the patterns that are visible for me right now probably are the ones that have been active during the month. So now it's like a time to review what I've been working with this month and how I want to relate with them. So in that moment that I was able to see all these things, the one thing that I invited, and I invite you to also do, because it's the one thing that alkalinizes the whole thing, is love and acceptance. In the moment we have judgment and resistance, we get back to those reactivity feelings or ways of being. But when we just see it and try to accept them and include them as, okay, this is part of who I am. And other important very important portion of this is that it's not only you. Every single human has all these parts. They activate in different moments in different ways, but it's the human psyche. We all have the inner critic. We all have the perfectionism, the not feeling worthy. So once we have that acceptance, right away it just boosts your soul. And honestly, like, it just shifted completely. Like, I don't feel like I have to change anything right now. And even me recording this video, I don't feel at my highest energy levels. You know, like, I feel like my eyes are heavy, wanting to, you know, express some tears. And now that I know it's just my, like, how can I say this? My humanness, my, it's what makes me. And especially in these moments, I don't know, I carry that now with appreciation, gratitude. And this is when the magic starts happening too. Because the awareness, what it gives us, what provides us, is that we get to choose now. But I don't think we get to the awareness without the acceptance. So I want to really emphasize on the acceptance piece. If we don't accept it, I don't think we get to see it. Or maybe we just fight it, we resist it. And when we fully accept it, that's when we start having ideas. It's just beautiful. It just makes you feel more whole, more, oh God, yeah, it's like a beautiful self-love place to be. So it's not only me, it's every single human, women that can experience this. If you're a guy watching this, your partner, your beautiful partner can experience this as well. I'm just, something that's coming to my mind. If you're a guy watching this, of course you can share this video with her, and obviously, because you're not going to be experiencing these things, it's not like you can do it and you can teach her how to do it, but holding the space for her, you know, reminding her, like, okay, maybe you can take some time to slow down, go in nature, reflect. And also, I guess the one part that guys could do from everything that I share in my process is that, okay, also accepting all these parts of her, not judging them. It's super beautiful. And experiencing this with a partner, I think it can be even way more powerful. So I'm sending you so much love. I would love so much to hear what you think. If maybe you have been experiencing something similar, please share, because I will be super excited to hear about your experience. If you practice everything that, you know, I share in this video, please come back and share with me how things went for you. And I will be always happy here to give any other insights to support you during your process. It's not that easy, it's not that pretty, it's not that, you know, it takes courage to go there and to see with all those little, I was thinking that it feels almost like the little monsters that we deny, we don't want to see, you know, like the inner critic, the perfectionism, the not worthy. We don't want to see these parts of ourselves, you know. We're kind of like, go away, leave me alone. But when we're just like, just come hang out with me, I accept you as a little part of who I am. There's always a bright side. You know, if we can say that these little parts are our shadows, there's always the light of these shadows. They always give us something positive as well. So it's necessary that they are part of us. I'm going now into a different subject, but yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. For now, thank you so much for watching. Until my next video, so much peace and love. One little very important disclaimer that I want to make is that you do not have to go to a chiropractor. That was my experience and how I got to where I am right now. I'm hoping that just by you listening to my story, you can also experience what I experienced, because it's just a matter of paying attention. You know, I had to go through this little journey of kind of shocking my body a little bit to realize, oh, okay, this is what's happening, but you don't have to. Now that you know that that's what's happening, you can just pay attention. But of course, chiropractors are super great if you're experiencing any other symptoms in your body. Highly recommended. I had a very beautiful experience. But yeah, it's important to add that it's not necessary to get to this level of awareness about our cycles.